Okay, so what I'm going to talk about today is the squat. Many people do perform the squat incorrectly in the gym, which is unfortunate because that can lead to a number of different injuries. Also, obviously bad form isn't going to be very beneficial for us to gain the maximum amount of benefits out of the squat, which is obviously used to work many different muscles in the legs. But let me get started. So first of all, obviously I'm going to be talking about the squat today. Also, I'm going to be talking about the muscles being worked. I'm going to be talking about how to perform the actual movement, how to avoid the risk of injury, and my experience involved in teaching people how to do squats and stuff like that. So first of all, to talk about my experience, my name is Max Pasternak. I'm a personal trainer. I work at Workout World at Ocean Township. We're located off of Route 66 in Ocean, New Jersey. So just to get started, okay, so just to talk about the anatomy. We work 4 major muscle groups when we're actually doing the squat. Most people think that we're just working the quads, but the quads are made up of 4 major muscle groups, starting with the rectus femoris, which is actually right over here. We also have the vastus intermedius, which is in the center, vastus lateralis on the side, vastus medialis on the inside of the leg. That's connected to the patella and to the hip joint over here, and basically a lot of injuries can result if we're actually performing the squat incorrectly. Now, we want to extend the legs. When we want to extend the legs in any kind of movement, even when we're walking or when we're just extending the leg, we're using that quad. So when we're extending, contracting any of these muscles here, it lets us extend the legs, and that's where the quadricep comes into place during the squat as well. Now, the way that we're going to perform the squat, we want to make sure that we have proper leg position, proper head position, proper torso position. We also want to make sure that our knees aren't buckling outward or inward, and at that point we can finally lower ourselves. So just to start off, your legs should be shoulder width apart. No wider and no closer, that could result in an injury. The head should be kept up towards the ceiling. The toes should not be pointed outward, they shouldn't be pointing inward, they should be pointed directly forward. The knees should not buckle outward, should not buckle inward. Then you can finally lower yourself. So when we're squatting, we also want to make sure that our back is bending forward. This way we don't actually end up squatting on our toes. When we squat our toes, we put excess stress on the knees, which could create anterolateral or medial knee pain. So let me demonstrate the squat right now. So when we're going to go down for the squat, knees should remain parallel with the second toe. Also, when you're going down, make sure that you're not going down any more than parallel to the ground, and then you want to stand back up. So that's all you want to do. Now, the secondary muscles being worked are the adductor complex, the abductor complex, the hip flexors, the glutes, the hamstrings, and also the calves. So we want to work all those muscles together to maximize the amount of calories that we're burning and get ourselves closer to our goals, as well as build maximal muscle and avoid injury. Speaking of avoiding injury, we want to warm up before every single one of our exercises, including obviously the squat. So that's a big way that we're going to avoid the risk of injury. Also, the quads should not go past parallel with the floor. So if you go lower than 90 degrees, where your where your knee joint is lower than 90 degrees, we're actually going to end up running the risk of a serious injury to the knee, to the back, or any of those joints. At the same time, you do not want to lock out when you stand up. When you lock out, you're putting excess stress on the knee joint, obviously creating other risks of injury and stuff like that. Form is very crucial, and we should always stretch at the end of doing a squat. So by keeping form that I just talked about very well, and stretching at the end of the squat, and stretching out all those muscle structures, we're going to avoid the risk of injury. So in conclusion, the muscles being worked: vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, vastus intermedialis, and the rectus femoris. So by working all those muscles together, again, we're going to maximize the amount of calories we're burning, get ourselves closer and closer to our goals. Just to show again how we're going to execute the exercise: when you're squatting, make sure you bring the butt down, knees not buckling outward or inward, head up, shoulder complex up, torso bent slightly, and you're just going to go down, come back up. Don't go past parallel with the floor. And that's it. Now you guys all know how to do a squat. Great? Good. Bravo.